right, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're really going to hold off in your applause. I want you to go 17 times bigger for Faye. I have had the extreme pleasure of getting to work with Faye Kallel when I was at my time at Amazon. One of the best reasons for me to stay at Amazon, if I were still there today. Faye has done a bunch of amazing things. One of the things that she did is that she grew a large team to actually drive a lot of the personalization work that's done by Prime Video. So if you see things getting better in Prime Video over the next year, you can, on your search experience and whatnot, I would tell you this is the person that you're going to look to. Did that work was so smart, forward-leaning. It was actually, some of the executives said this is actually one of the most thoughtful strategy docs we've seen at Amazon in the last 10 years. So super impressive. That led to her getting a larger role for all of us, and we were really lucky when I was at the Amazon Studio side, helping to coordinate the AI strategy across all of Prime Video studios and all of the different teams, which are multiple different departments. One of the hardest jobs. I can't even imagine how Faye even thought about doing that, and then was able to bring this huge portfolio together, which was incredible. And some of those things are still happening today. So I'm going to let Faye talk about that, because you're going to hear a little bit about some of that deep thinking. But that's not all she did. Before coming to Amazon, she was also the chief product officer at a really cool startup called SIGOPT, which was actually been listed as one of the top 50 really cool AI companies that you're going to want to look at, and you should go check them out online. And they've been doing some really great work. And then spent a huge amount of time in personalization at Yahoo for over 10 years. So you're dealing with someone that's like a 22-year plus media entertainment exec pro, knows personalization better than anybody else. And you're going to give the loudest applause for Faye. Here we go.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, everybody. I'm humbled and privileged to be among you today. So what I want to do, since this is Hollywood, might as well kick off with a quote from a movie by none other than Morpheus from The Matrix. When he basically said, I want to show you the door, Neo, but you have to go through it. And I think this is what Gen AI is doing to us. It's showing us possibilities, opportunities, but it's a revolution that is inevitable for all businesses and specifically for Hollywood. So my name is Faye Kallel, and what I want to do for the next about 7 to 8 minutes is really kind of show you some of the innovations we've brought to market to really improve the streaming experience. And as you know, Prime Video has been, over the last several years, trying to expand its content catalog, the acquisition of MGM, deep partnership with third-party vendors, so you can subscribe to HBO and Paramount and all sorts of content providers on the service. And then, obviously, with our forays in Thursday Night Football, all of that really introduces so much content, and it makes it so hard for people to find what delights them. So it really begs the question, or I should say, a few questions. First of all, how do you simplify content discovery, specifically with an install base coming on 250 million users globally? How do you improve the streaming experience regardless of the devices that people are coming to your service from? With 8,000 devices, resolution is not the same, capabilities are not the same, so how can you keep a premium streaming experience across devices? And then lastly, as we venture into a lot of these global territories, network bandwidth is not the greatest. And even in the US, when you're watching a Thursday night football game, you really don't want to miss on the action, and you definitely do not like buffers and spinners on the screen. So how do you really improve the resolution regardless of network bandwidth? So those are essentially the 3 questions we set out to solve late last year when Hollywood and the writers were, rightfully on strike, and we couldn't just innovate liberally with Gen AI. So we ventured to focus on the streaming experiences. And these are the 3 demos, if you will, or stories that I want to share with you over the next few minutes. So let's start with, how do we improve the experience regardless of network bandwidth? So what we did is we built a video foundation model that simply allowed us to detect the most important part of a scene. So if it's let's say, a sports game, and a goal is about to be scored, the ball is probably a very important element of that scene. The scoreboard is an important element of that scene. And what we do with this video foundation model is we actually send higher definition packets over the wire for those salient scenes in a particular action. And we send lower definition packets for the rest of it, for the background. You don't want to see some of the background elements, so those get lower packets. And ultimately, it adds up to like an actual 15% saving in network bandwidth utilization. And this is a game changer in sports. So why don't we take a look here? And hopefully the demo will do me justice in terms of the original versus improved encoding. And I call your attention to the scoreboard, the ball, the actual numbers on the jersey of the players, because that's what audiences are looking to know, who's doing what, and see how that encoding is improved. And it's not necessarily a full upscaling of the entire scene, it's just those elements. Yes. This has proven to be quite crucial, specifically when you're doing live broadcasting. And it really helps you solve for a lot of buffering bottlenecks. So that's how we basically solved for network bandwidth, fluctuations, if you will. The second thing we looked at is, well, if you look at our content library, it's predominantly in standard definition or in lower definition titles. And every year, so many new devices come out and people upgrade and renew their devices. And there is a whole world of high definition, ultra high, 4K, 8K, 24K. How do you keep up? Specifically since, library titles and old favorites are still well sought after. I'm sure you all have probably enjoyed Suits that came back several years after it was broadcast. So how do you make sure some of those traditional experiences really just are premium and bar raised from a resolution perspective? Now, real remastering is the traditional method of upscaling content, but it has proven to be costly, error-prone, and time-consuming. So what we did is we used generative AI models to actually upscale content. And what I'd like to do is show you a side-by-side of an upscaled scene from the Stargate TV series, episode 3. Let's take a watch. I want to show you another clip, and in this one, I don't have audio, so I can call your attention to some of the nature scenes and the foliage, where there is just a lot of blurriness versus sharper edges in the resolution-boosted clip. So this, without giving you a lot of specifics, but there was a good 90% saving in cost in terms of upscaling content, and that's a game changer when you have a lot of old favorites from, Friends to Suits, whatnot, that you want to really give them a new life and bring them to newer generations that are, just eager to stream and enjoy this content. So let's move into the third innovation that we deliver to market. By show of hand, how many of you spend 5, 10, 15 minutes browsing before you find something you enjoy watching? That's pretty much everybody in the room. It has always been the case for me until this is one of the innovations that we started in personalization, and then we accelerated bringing it to market through generative AI. So what we've done simply is, when you think 10 years ago, how pioneers in this space like Netflix hired people and gave them a document of 1,000 keywords. They watch movies and they tag them with these keywords, and through that they really enrich their models and help to deliver very curated carousels, like really exciting type of programming for their content. And now that took them a while to put together, and a lot of training and a lot of watching content and a very manual labor. What we did to basically catch up and make it as elegant of a solution to our customers is we built this carousel generator large language model. What it does simply is it allows both the automated models of personalization, but our programming and merchandising teams to take a seed title and give a prompt to this carousel generator. And what the carousel generator does is it goes through our entire library, including titles from our partners, and it basically brings them back in a carousel grouping of 20 titles, if you'd like 20 titles turned back, so you can even specify how large the carousel is, and then also recommend a carousel header, a really slick way to name the carousel. So for example, one of our merchandisers gave the tool Lord of the Ring and said, you know, give me 20 titles similar to the Lord of the Ring, and then they got basically a carousel with a recommendation for a title of Middle-earth Stories or Fans of the Tolkien Society. So it's really these immersive titles that now make the browsing and the discovery much faster, much more immersive, and equally intelligent to the customer behavior and what they've been streaming on the service. So what did this mean? A few years back, you'd come to Prime Video and you see basically romance movies or, you know, comedy TV series, and it feels bland. Now, and this is actually rolling out now country by country, you will see things like gritty American war stories. And if you enjoyed The Boys on Prime Video, you will be basically surprised with a carousel called, you know, superhero flicks as part of your navigation experience. And it's done seamlessly based on your streaming behavior. So with that, in closing, I just want to leave you with a few thoughts and another movie quote. So obviously, from these three use cases, you could see there's so much room to elevate and bar raise on the streaming experiences, specifically in quality, in content discovery, but also in resolution. And I believe that leaves us with a fun quote from the Blade Runner movie. Future is not something that happens, it's something you make. And I'm looking forward to being amongst you here today so we can make some fun innovation with Gen AI. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. And guess what? We get more Faye. So we're gonna double click into this a little bit. Faye, would you join me over here? Wonderful. So one of the things that we're gonna do, everyone looking forward to a holiday weekend? Yeah, oh my gosh, I need a holiday weekend so badly, I can't even tell you. So you're gonna go out. How many people are gonna like hang out with friends and some family? Some of you are gonna like, I'm gonna crawl into my closet and not come out. But yeah, friends and family. For all of these friends and family, we're gonna start out with a question for Faye. So Faye not only is a tremendous technologist, she has a great way of actually simplifying concepts and techniques. So Faye, everyone out here, we have a whole bunch of people here, at least half the room, are gonna go see friends and family over this holiday break. And you know what? They're going to go say, oh, yeah, like I'm into this Gen AI thing, and their grandparents are going to be there. And they're like, I have no idea on how to explain this. Would you help out the audience in here? Like, how would you explain Gen AI and what's happening right now this Memorial Day weekend?
Thank you. I love that question because I always strive to explain what I do to my grandparents. So I found the most durable metaphor to use to describe generative AI is to say, it's like having a creative chef. You can come to them, give them ingredients, and ask them to make you like a vegan dish, and they will surprise you with something you probably have never tried before, or something that you've tried, but they put their own experience spin on it. So how does that relate to generative AI? The chefs are all these large language models that are basically going to culinary school, getting trained on so much data to get to really give you very meaningful answers and to the point answers and get you out of the endless blue links that you get when you do a simple search online. The difference between all these generative AI models is obviously the data they got trained on, the techniques that they use, and ultimately what they generate and produce. And just like we will talk about some of the challenges with generative AI, is if you ask a chef who has never baked before to bake you something, you might get something with salt. And you just need to know that that's what we refer to as hallucinations. So that's essentially how I describe generative AI. It's really pushing the boundaries of creativity, taking the magic of creative experiences of chefs and cooking up new things, whether those things are images or videos or text or stories. And it's really helping us augment ourselves and our creative boundaries.
Oh, I love it. Is that a good answer? So, all right, it was perfect for the barbecue weekend, and I'm looking forward to some maybe Tunisian cheeseburgers or something that we'll imagine out on Midjourney and what that might look like. All right, so next question. That was a lovely answer. Next question. You've been scanning the industry now for quite some time, and you and I were just talking, you just even saw some stuff, there's an AWS conference going on. What are some of the particularly interesting use cases and, let's say, implementations that you kind of see with maybe some product companies? Like, what are you seeing out there that kind of catches your attention right now?
Yeah, I'd say there are three things that stand out to me consistently. And first of all, there is unprecedented creative opportunity. As of a couple of weeks ago, there is a director who produced fully with AI a 4-minute music video. And I think it's available online. It's by Washed Out. And the song is called The Hardest Part. And it really was the easiest part to put it together. So it's like the irony of the play there. And I think that, to me, is really pushing the boundaries of how we express ourselves and how we, bring ideas and content to the world. So that's, and every day I see new announcements, new Gen AI first studios being invented to really rethink how we create. So unprecedented creativity is a huge area of innovation that I see consistently. The second area is I'm seeing a lot of human and AI collaboration. So for those of you who may have seen the coverage on Paris Fashion Week, where Humane.ai featured their pin. It's a wearable pin that you wear that doesn't have a screen, and it has some really exciting use cases. It actually is for sale right now in the US. This is not an ad for them.
Does anyone have one? Anyone have one out there? Not yet?
Not
okay.
yet. So
you're going to get one.
It works on T-Mobile.
You're not making any endorsement money on it,
I'm not making on any
I know an
endorsement.
agency. So.
No.
All right.
It works on T-Mobile. But here is the cool thing about this AI pin. So for someone who's traveling, if you wear it, you go to a restaurant, you speak in English, and it translates in your voice in the language of choice that you need to place that order in, right? It's also a device that doesn't look as expensive as, a several $1,000 phone. So when you're traveling, it's much easier to transport and, less impactful to lose. The other fun use case that they have is if you link your health data and you're about to grab a snack bar, you basically have the pin scan the barcode on the snack bar and tell you in a very affectionate and hilarious way that this is not, to your health goals, and you may want to lay, the sugar snacks a little bit. But then he will tell you, go ahead, enjoy it. We'll just, track the rest of the day in terms of eating habits. So it's really, it's creating this entertaining human companion.
All right, so don't go buy this before the holiday weekend. Wait till Tuesday and eat whatever you want and then get advice.
Exactly, or Christmas. Or turn it off when you're about to binge eat,
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, so I think we're seeing a lot of this AI and human collaboration, and I think that's where it's at. That's the journey that we needed to invent and go through together. A third area is adding profound value to society. I am sure all of you remember the days when you go on a business trip somewhere where it's rainy, and you have to get out of the conference and go hail a cab in the rain. You know, we all remember those episodes or can actually relate to them. Funny enough, and now the whole Lyft and Uber is so seamless. The ride share is so seamless. It has completely changed how we interact with transportation, and made our business trips much more comfortable. And that's the level of societal change that we are seeing, both in the AI human collaboration, but also in the creativity. And those are some of the things that get me excited about this space.
Yeah, and if you don't know Faye, I would say if you can catch her, she has a lot of big ideas about making this world a better place, and that's one of the many things that I'm always impressed about with you. So a quick question. I think you also know this company, Character AI, also, yeah, which you think is kind of interesting. And so, I was doing a little homework on you, so I thought I would ask, have anyone used Character AI out there? Have you used it? Not that many. There should be more hands that go up, right?
Yeah. You guys go check it out. Do you want to have a conversation with Elon Musk? Go to character.ai.
All right, take out your phone right now. Everyone take out your phone. Go look it up. You're going to do this afterwards. So, so I asked. I was like, you know what? I knew you knew a lot about AI, but so Character AI, I talked to Eula Lawrence out there, and she thought, first of all, she thought you were by far and away the best intelligent operator of all of the knights in the kingdom, which I thought was great. Incredibly fast learner, incredibly good about mastering artificial intelligence. And my favorite line here was, to be honest, she's a little more scary than the genius inventors like Chief Alchemist, Sunumur Academy. So anyway, you need to kind of pull this up, but it's great that we have these kind of fun uses for that in our industry as well, right?
It's very fun, and I want to build on that to say, Generation Alpha, the kids born after 2010, it's the first generation that regards the world of online as real as much as the world of offline, and therefore they value online-only relationship as much as offline relationship. That's something we cannot fathom because we came from a world of offline, and we use online as just a conduit to connect, to make a phone call, to like something, to post a happy birthday, right? But it's not something to replace or as equally important as offline. Well, Generation Alpha, they beg to differ, and they are actually, I'm seeing the arc, the other side of the arc where they are more community driven, they're more humanity driven, and at the same time they value online relationships. So Character.ai, the second most used consumer service today, the first is ChatGPT. So that says a lot for them to be second. With 430 million sessions a month, every session is a good 33 minutes long, and 60% of their install base are 18 to 24. So they've got the eyeballs of the future consumers. And they're really in the business of creating these avatars, these characters that you call friends that you can have conversations with. So if you want to have a debate with Elon Musk, and there's no chance you're going to ever meet them, they actually trained on Elon Musk debates and style of thinking and talking, and you can have a whole conversation with the Elon avatar, as well as create your own avatars. And
by the way, that's really good after about 15 drinks. It's a really great conversation, enhancing that conversation.
It's very interesting. So anyhow, I'll just say it's entertaining. Maybe it seems like odd entertainment for us, but it's really how Generation Alpha interacts with the world.
It's real. Yeah. How many of you have kids 18 or under? Or is that true? Give me a, oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you're exactly right. All right, so I know we're going to run out of time, but I have another question. This is really important because you've thought about this. You've been leading product and AI and data for at least 15 years in a big way. Gen AI is introducing a whole new set of considerations when we build products. So when it comes to kind of thinking about how we're embedding Gen AI into products, what are kind of some of the considerations and thoughts? What are some of the challenges that we see today?
Yeah, I think the challenges, the pervasive, durable challenges are three. There are many more, actually, but these are the ones that we're going to have to solve over a long period of time. First is bias. As with any AI inventions, the data that has bias will produce biased outcomes. And there's no shortage of news every day about bias in loan application approvals or in, resume scanning, you name it. So bias continues to be a problem, and it's going to amplify with Gen AI because data is really much more important for Gen AI models than it has ever been for AI models. So bias is one. Misinformation is a second big problem. And misinformation, I think, when it comes to the creative community, it really begs for representation. You've got a lot of these techies who are ambitious. They love that they put in a text and they get an animation on the other end. But they don't have the creative mind. They have maybe the engineering, scientific, technical mind. There are very few people who are both creative and technical, right? So we need that community of creative, technical leaders like all of you to be part of the thinking and the ideation and the inception process of these Gen AI models, because misinformation can spread very easily. And being able to watermark what's AI generated versus what's human augmented is really important. There is some regulation right now, but frankly, when I look at regulation around the world, there are at least 29 different laws to abide by. And software providers are not necessarily checking every box. So that's where we needed to get ahead of it, and the experts need to lead the charge. And the third problem is IP ownership. So the latest mini fiasco that happened this week is GPT-4o, O stands for Omni, launched last week. 2 days after, they have to pull down the AI voice of Sky. There was a tweet that Sky is from the Her movie. It turns out Scarlett Johansson was the voice for Samantha, the actual robot on the Her movie. And then when she heard the voice, it was eerily very similar to hers. So she basically issued a statement complaining. And it turns out OpenAI reached out to her to try and get her voice to be included, but she refused to be part of it. And then still, something very similar to her voice comes up in their voice assistant. So she's not necessarily pressing any legal charges yet, but that service had to come down. And the big question that begs itself is when you do something like that, when you train your models on all sorts of voices out there, and this is something that belongs to a human, who has the rights to that? And even when you train on, let's say, Hollywood titles that we know exactly who owns them, the produced content that leveraged that learning, who owns that? So I think there is a little bit of, there's a huge debate about data lineage and provenance and ownership, and this is something that's gonna continue coming up in the press. And obviously the best way to get ahead of it is to really put guardrails, understand how you're training these models, what you're training them on, what for, etc. And rightfully so, some companies are paying a lot of money to get access to data. Adobe is paying about $3 per 1 minute of video to legitimize all the video footage that is training its own video foundation models. So these are some of the high-level big problems and challenges that we're facing as we embrace this innovative trend.
Oh, I love that one. And you know what? I think that would be a really interesting problem for a talent agency to think about. So thank you for bringing that one up. I'm going to ask a really quick question. You have such a good answer to this question, so I'm going to ask you. I've asked you before, so it's not on the pre-ask. And then I'd love to take one question. So real quick, write down a question. We have time for one. So my quick interlude question is this. For people here in the audience that want to train themselves up a little bit more on AI, how would you ask them to take that next step and go a little deeper?
Okay. I'll just tap into something I've done in the last few weeks. I told my 10-year-old he needs to understand what's happening with Gen AI. So I showed him some of these AI-only influencers that are now getting $10 million basically paydays from Samsung campaigns. And it's really baffling. You can't tell it's AI created. It's a human with an Instagram account, a TikTok account, and they're influencing. So the adventure we went on is literally just using all free tools online. We sat down and we said, okay, do you want to write a story, like a short story? Give me a topic. The topic, unlikely friendship in a high school. As simple as that. We put that into the GPT, and we asked to give us a couple of pages worth of short story. It gave us a really riveting short story. We liked it. So then we said, we want to turn this into a video animation. So give me all the video prompts for every aspect of that story. And it literally produced it segmented the whole story into these video prompts. Then I went to this other video generation tool, and prompt by prompt, you could create 3 to 9 seconds video for free. You have to pay if it's longer. And we started actually creating the scenes. And then we stitched it all together, and we created an animation from just an idea. Clearly, it's not, you know, premium content. The scenes are stitched. Some of the characters changed because these models don't necessarily have a way for you to edit some of the scenes or preserve the characters, but those features are coming. But it's really by using the tools, and there's so much free out there with all sorts of YouTube tutorials, that I really feel like everyone is, you know, now understands the potential of this and can use it in very interesting ways, but also ask themselves, am I doing something right or wrong here? So.
I love it. Thank you. And I know we're out of time, and we could keep going all day long. But what I would like to do is take that question. I want you to find Faye, and I want you to ask your question to Faye out here a little later at the end of the day. Faye, you're amazing. Can you all give Faye like the loudest,
Yes,
loudest applause?
awesome.
You're amazing. Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.